What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Curtis Review, and a very special episode at that. Today we're going over my top 10 movies of 2023, the moment you've all been waiting for, right? Right? Before we get started, please do be sure to pound that subscribe button as we are trying to reach our next milestone of 300 subscribers. Of course, the idea of making a top 10 list, a finale to 2023, is not something I take lightly. There were so many movies from this past year that I wanted to take into consideration, such as Godzilla Minus One, American Fiction, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, The Zone of Interest, Priscilla, The Iron Claw, and William Friedkin's The Kane Mutiny Court Trial. And the list still goes on from there. 2023 was an incredible year for movies. So without further ado, let's get into it.
First, let's start with some honorable mentions. I was able to get a viewing of Lee Cronin's Evil Dead Rising before finalizing my list. And while it didn't make the top 10, it absolutely slapped. It's bonkers from beginning to end, still manages to feel like Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell's Stone Cold classic. It's a bit less cartoony, but also nails some of the best gory side gags I've ever seen in a movie. Save this for next Halloween because low-key, I think it's kind of a modern classic. May December, the sicko Todd Haynes' newest movie, which also happens to be my best performing video on the channel, thank you so much, was pretty damn good. It's a slow burn comedy drama with some of the best script writing and directing I've ever seen. Natalie Portman, Charles Melton, and Julianne Moore are absolute gas here, and the movie looks amazing too. Bring a bucket and maybe some tissues. This one is weird and will make you feel weirder. The Holdovers, starring the GOAT Paul Goat-amatti, or should I say Goat-amatti.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT!
Is a cozy, comedic Christmas feel-good that is sure to be a classic for future holiday seasons to come. Divine Joy Randolph is doing top-tier work, and the movie feels just like a warm cup of Irish coffee bundled in a blanket. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll make you feel good.
Number 10, Theater Camp, a sneaky little comedy that just happened to pop up on Hulu. I watched this back in late summer, early fall, and I have been boning up on my entrepreneurship ever since. If you haven't watched this one, you're missing out. The cast is incredible, the jokes and writing even more so, and the finale is one of the funniest and greatest things I've ever seen. It made me feel good, it made me cackle, and if you really need another reason to watch it, Patty Harrison from I Think You Should Leave shows up, and anytime she shows up, you know it's gonna be great. 2023 was a great year for comedies like this. Whether it was full-on Apatow era reloads like Jennifer Lawrence's No Hard Feelings and this one, here's hoping movie studios make more movies like this one. Number 9, Asteroid City. I have been out of the Wes Anderson camp for some time now. Though I am a longtime fan of The Fantastic Mr. Fox and Moonrise Kingdom, I've found many of his other movies kind of dull and too Wes Anderson. Intrigued by the concept of Asteroid City and all the positive buzz it was getting in 2023, I fired it up and man, I was blown away by it. The writing was top notch, the dialogue super quick, without being annoying, and visually the movie is packed with sight gags and really is just an amazing movie to watch unfold on screen. I don't know how he pulls off the scenery and the lighting alone, but God, it is just so good. There are so many characters, all who find their moments to shine and are never overshadowed by the others. The movie oozes personality. It's quirky without being that kind of quirky, and I don't know, it's my new favorite Wes Anderson movie. I've never wanted a martini straight from a vending machine more than I do right now. Dina and Woodrow Forever. Number 8, Thanksgiving. Y'all know I had to put this one on here. I had so much fun seeing this in the theater with my friends. It feels like with this movie, horror is becoming fun again. Dropping the psychodrama and the PTSD from the onslaught of recent A24 and Blumhouse horror movies. Eli Roth was clearly grinning from ear to ear as he made this movie. The movie felt planned and specific and intentional, and Eli Roth and co. really made something special. A slasher with a unique blend of cranberry sauce and whodunit. It's equal parts Scream, Texas Chainsaw, and Halloween. It's an ode to the beauty of horror and Roth's love letter to the genre. And it's another holiday classic to boot. Number 7, Barbie. Before this movie even came out, I had no doubts that Greta Gerwig would fully deliver on the premise. Visually, it's stunning. The musical numbers worked really well, especially for someone who hates musicals and musical numbers. And Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling absolutely destroy their roles as Barbie and Ken. Gosling especially steals the spotlight, but Margot Robbie is the main attraction here. The movie's touching, funny, and manages to move into kind of ephemeral and ethereal territory. Shout out to Weird Barbie. We need a Weird Barbie and Alan team-up spoof to come out after this. Kinda like a buddy cop caper thing. That would work. You know it would. Call me up, Hollywood. Number 6, Skinamarink. Kyle Edward Ball's quietly disturbing, creepypasta-esque movie drifted into theaters in early 2023. I was lucky enough to catch a showing of it back then in a pretty packed theater. It was dead silent the entire time. As the final moments of the movie washed over us, we walked out of the theater again in silence. When I got home that night, I couldn't shake the feeling and vision that I'd seen played out on screen. Something so simplistic in approach, but expertly executed. Sometimes in order for a movie to really work, you have to let it in. If you let it in, Skinamarink will continue to haunt you forever. Number 5, The Boy and the Heron. I did a video on this one where you can hear more of my in-depth thoughts, but this was another one that reconverted me back to being a follower of the director. The Boy and the Heron is whimsical, weird, and disturbing, while also being harrowing, beautiful, and breathtaking to look at. It's some of the best work Miyazaki's ever done, and it might be my new favorite of his filmography. There's a special magic to this movie that I had yet to have experienced up until that point. And much like with Skinamarink, you have to allow The Boy and the Heron to change you. It's a thought-provoking idea, or even ideas, that the movie is presenting in an abstract way. Is beauty worth having if it means that you will experience pain? I lost my dog Blue in 2023, and she was one of the greatest friends I've ever had. But I would never choose to live in a world where, even if I never lost her, I may have never known her. R.I.P. Blue, and thank you Miyazaki-sensei for making this movie that perfectly summarized my 2023. Number 4, Across the Spider-Verse. The moment that I knew I would become a lifelong movie fan was when I saw Sam Raimi's Spider-Man in theaters. My mom took my brother and I, and as soon as I got back home from the movie, I was in our cul-de-sac court pretending I was on Green Goblin's glider or web swinging around the city like Spider-Man. So anything Spider-Man that comes out is generally going to hit me pretty positively. Except for those MCU Tom Holland movies, I wasn't crazy about those. Across the Spider-Verse managed to surprise me and surpass all expectations that I had. The movie prior to this one, Into the Spider-Verse, blew me away when I first saw it. I had no idea how they would surpass it, but they went and did it. I could talk about so many things with this movie, how funny it is, how many great voice cameos there are to explore, how they capture comic books and how they feel, as well as how it feels to be a comic book fan. But the one scene that lives rent-free in my head forever now is when Gwen Stacy returns to her reality to find her father. And the way that the art direction is in this part of the movie is stunning. I mean, it's dripping and oozing and feels like you're like in an oil painting and then in a digital painting, and it just completely, like, I was just gobsmacked. In that particular moment, tears came to my eyes with the beauty they were able to imbue with a comic book character like Spider-Man. Also, I knew this was a planned two-parter, but fuck y'all for that cliffhanger. All right, we're getting down to the last 3. Here we go. Number 3, Talk to Me. I've already used the phrase let you in my blurb about Skinamarink, but that's a key phrase in the Filippo brothers' tour de force, balls to the wall horror movie, Talk to Me. The movie is parts coming of age and does carry some of the trappings of the aforementioned A24 trauma porn horror bloat that we've been getting a lot of, but for the most part, it's lean and mean. It's punchy, it's ballsy, and it fucking goes for it. The audio editing especially is incredible. Sophia Wilde as Mia shines in this, her face and eyes embodying the sheer terror of what the ceramic hand holds. What really makes Talk to Me stand out though, kinda like with Thanksgiving, it feels really fun. Don't get me wrong, it does get very upsetting and creepy pretty quickly, but the first hour or so feels so inviting and alluring. It's addictive and it makes you want to come back for seconds. Also, I think there's a rumor that the Filippo brothers are doing a Street Fighter movie, and in which case I'm fucking in for that. And so, my number 2 is Poor Things. Yorgos Lanthimos' modern Frankenstein tale a woman reanimated by Willem Dafoe's Godwin Baxter. She is given the opportunity to explore all of the facets of human life and the idea of what it truly means to be alive. Seeing this movie in a movie theater was a special experience because the visuals are... there's just not a good enough word to describe how beautiful they are, to exhibit the pure emotion and depth that Yorgos breathes into Bella's world. There's a profound appreciation for life on display in Poor Things, and that is perhaps its most compelling quality. And of course, Emma Stone's performance is a career highlight. She's so goddamn funny, so captivating, and so watchable. Her screen presence is undeniable, her charm effervescent, and that goes just as well for Mark Ruffalo, who, kind of like Ryan Gosling in Barbie, steals a lot of scenes here. But there's also many other great acting moments on display, such as Rami Youssef, who I knew best from his excellent show Rami. He shows here that he has a great range, and I'm excited to see what he does next. I have to stop myself from gushing too much about this movie, but much like in The Boy and the Heron, Poor Things steps into similar territory with its sense of discovery. The way the movie is shot is indicative of the experience of experiencing life. It has an eminently human approach to the way that it examines the earth and its creatures. And for that, it is an eternally important movie. I also believe that this would be the best movie to show to the aliens when they come to anally probe us to get an idea of what humans are about. Number 1, Celine Song's Past Lives. The concept of past lives is simple. Greta Lee and Tae Yoo play Nora and Heyson, whose lives are ruptured from each other when Nora's family immigrates from South Korea. Nora and Heyson grow up, become new people, but their interest in each other never really wanes. Their love is powerful, and Celine Song's camera lens captures that feeling in the quietest of moments. Sometimes Lee and Yoo may say nothing to each other in a scene, but it feels louder than anything you can imagine. Their emotional energy, which I hesitate to call completely sexual but definitely has a tinge of it, is palpable. How Song managed to capture this feeling in a scene where two people are talking over Zoom is staggering. My heart was in my throat almost the entire time. There is something so heartbreaking and relatable about this movie. First, the pain of monogamy. Nora has in almost every way moved on from Heyson, but in that small percentage of her heart still yearns for him. Heysun embodies her past home in South Korea, representing comfort and familiarity, which makes the painful and longing visit from Heysun even more emotionally resonant. The intro to the movie alludes to one of the best scenes of the movie, where Nora and Heysun share a conversation in their first language as Arthur sits by listening. They talk about what they could have been and ultimately why it didn't happen. But they both can never quite say that they wish they did or they didn't. Unrequited love is perhaps one of the most painful experiences in life. In my current relationship, there were times where both of us could have severed off and formed a new path without each other. It's as simple as that, to fracture a bond and just move on. But what's so heartbreaking, so much so that it brought me to tears, is that through it all, Nora and Heysun have a love that is almost more powerful, living outside of the realm of their current realities. Imagine saying goodbye to somebody who's not just your best friend, but the actual person you may love despite it all. It's such a complex and difficult emotion to convey, but Celine Song does it so masterfully, aided as well by the incredible acting on display by Greta Lee and Tae Yoo. My fiance and I could not stop laughing during the movie at how sad of a face Tae Yoo has. He's so perfect for this movie. And that wraps up my top movies of 2023. What were your favorite movies of 2023? What movies are you looking forward to in 2024? Leave all the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, as we are trying again to hit that 300 subscriber point. Thank you all for watching Curtis Reviews. I started this channel when I was in a very dark place in my life. And being able to create videos like this and share them out to the world to continue the conversation that is so important about movies and film is a gift that I can never stop being grateful for. I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for us. So until next time,